This is a video tutorial to show you guys how to graph using Excel. So what we're going to do here, start by, is we're going to select all the data, right, including the headers. We're going to come up here to the Insert tab, and we're going to go over here to the Charts section. Okay, and because we're trying to do a graph and looking at the relationships, we're going to select the scatter plot option. Okay, and then we'll select this first one because we don't want any lines, because we want to try and figure out what the trend is. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, now our graph's going to show up, right, and we can move it around by selecting the screen. We can add features here using the plus sign. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is click on this. I want my axes titles. I'm going to make sure that my chart title is up there. And then I have my axes grid lines showing. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is edit the titles. So my X values, right, are massively attached to the spring in grams. So I'm going to go ahead and double click in here, highlight that. I'm going to make sure to include the units that it's measured in. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Y. Delete it out. Length of spring. And last but not least, and I'm going to edit the title of the graph. Generally what we want to do here is we want to have it our dependent variable or Y variable versus our independent variable. Okay, so in this case it's going to be the length of the spring versus the mass attached to the spring. Go ahead here and click in. Here you have your graph. Alright, I can see my data. Right, it looks like it has a certain trend. Alright, we'll be interested in finding an equation to represent the data. So again, I'm going to go into this plus sign here. Click on it. I'm going to come down the trend line, but I'm not going to click the checkbox. What I'm going to do here is click this arrow to the right, which gives me some more options. Okay, so linear, exponential, so on and so forth. And we're going to go all the way down here and select more options. On the right hand side of the screen, you'll have this show up. Okay, it might tell you the weight of the line. We're not necessarily concerned with that. I'm going to click the one that looks like a bar graph, right, which gives me some of my trend line options. See, we have exponential, linear, logarithmic, polynomial. So if I were to select polynomial, right, degree 2 is a quadratic, degree 3 is cubic, so on and so forth. But looking at my data here, it looks like it has a linear trend, so I'm going to go ahead and select linear. I'm going to come down, scroll down to the bottom, and then here's some important information so that we get the equation for the trend line. Click the checkbox for display equation on chart. All right, and then we also want to display the R squared value on the chart. That tells me how good of a fit this trend line is for my data. So let me make this, you can select everything, Control A, and then we can come up to the Home tab. You can make the font a little bit bigger so you can read it. You can move this equation around on the chart by selecting the outside area. So I have my equation, and then my R-squared value is 0.99. Coming back over here to the trend line options, you gotta make sure your trend line is selected. Okay, if this doesn't show up, just reiterate that again. Okay, when I click on the chart, if it doesn't show up with those trend line options again, what you have to do is you have to go and click back on and select the trend line. Come down. There may be times when we need to set the y-intercept to a certain value. Right, in this case, if the spring does not have any mass attached to it, right, it shouldn't be stretched at all. So we're going to set the intercept to 0. So we'll undo that. Doesn't look like a good fit. All right, we'll leave it at this. So that's the end of the tutorial videos, just to help you guys, again, graph in Excel. There'll be more videos to show you how to do some other features, including putting in equations and dragging them along, and so on and so forth.